Chris Medlin had one of the most remarkable runs by a pitcher in Braves history last year. Atlanta won 23 consecutive starts he made. But this season's been a roller coaster ride. But right now, Medlin's pitching his best baseball of the year when it matters most. He's won 5 of his last 6 starts, and the Braves hope that continues this September and deep into October. Medlin gets the ball tonight against the Mets as he and the Braves look to stay red hot at Turner Field. It's a beautiful night for baseball in Atlanta, and a nice crowd gathering here at Turner Field for the middle game of our 3-game set with the New York Mets. The Braves blasted away yesterday, winning by a final score of 13-5. Hi again, friends. Joe Simpson, Dale Murphy, and Chip Carey with you here at Turner Field. Chris Medlin gets the ball for the Braves in Game 2. And, Joe, these are always important starts, even for a pitcher as accomplished as Chris, for he wants to start tuning up for a postseason run for Atlanta.
Well, you know, it's not like Chris has pitched poorly all year long. It's just that he set such a high bar last year that everybody was expecting, I guess, for him to go undefeated again this year. And while he hasn't pitched poorly, his last several starts have been very good, but especially his last one against Cleveland. I thought this was like a look back to the future type of start for Chris Medlin, because 7 innings, a shutout ball. He didn't walk anybody. He had an outstanding changeup and 2-seamer, just as he had at the end of last year when he was really rocking and rolling. But it's not just that start, Dale. It's recent history has been very good for Chris Medlin.
Yeah, his last 6 starts, he's been 5-1. And what I really like is he's going deep into the game, almost 7 innings per start, his last 6 starts. So we need to get him tuned up. Chip, need to get him ready to go for the postseason. It looks like he's ready to go.
And in keeping with our Back to the Future theme, not too many McFlys off the bats of the opponents when Chris Medlin's been pitching for the Atlanta Braves. Speaking of McFlys, some big flies from the Braves outfielders of late. An improved outfield performance without Jason Hayward. Tom Hart, when we return, talks about the men filling in splendidly for Atlanta as we continue from Turner Field after this.
Medlin continues to stay hot, not only in September, but also against the New York Ball Club. Welcome back, everybody. Tom Hart, the Braves outfield, has had to fill in since Jason Hayward went on the disabled list on August 22nd after being hit in the face by Jonathan Neesmith. And boy, have they ever, not only at the top of the lineup, but defensively as well. B.J. Upton has certainly turned his game up, both in the field and at the plate. This diving catch is one of the many gems he's shown, and he had this game-winning walk-off on Saturday. Now his brother Justin has done well as well, and Jordan Schaefer has been running wild. He tied a career high with 3 stolen bases last night, a 4-for-5 night. Though he tweaked his back, Freddie Gonzalez said he is good to go if needed. And now here's Justin, who had a fantastic April, as you know, and a red-hot August. So these 3 outfielders carrying their weight, and some help from Evan Gattis tonight as well. BJ, last 10 games, a .424 on-base percentage with 3 extra base hits. Justin, a .474 OBP with 4 runs. And Schaefer, 3 stolen bases last night, 7 in his last games. He's turned into a threat at the top of the lineup. But tonight, it will be B.J. Upton at the top of the lineup. And good news for Jason Hayward. He got a chance to hit off the tee and play some catch today. Perhaps his return is closer than we initially thought. Should be a fun one tonight. It's a lone night game in this 3-game series between the Mets and the Braves. Home cooking licks continue. It's the best home record in all of baseball for the Atlanta Braves. And Chris Medlin on the mound next.
And back in the starting lineup for more in his return. Let's check it again with Tom Hart.
All right, Chip, thanks. He put up great numbers down at Gwinnett, 6 for 13 with 3 doubles and a home run. But it was more than just the numbers that have Gattis positive going into tonight's game.
It was good, man. I had good success. More importantly than that, I liked the way I felt at the plate and my approach, and staying aggressive in the zone and being ready to hit, and pretending like every pitch is going to be my pitch until it's not. And it's just getting back to the basics of how I hit. And, just really, it's refreshing.
And it's great to have him back here. Even more important with Jordan Schaefer still nursing that sore back to get Gattis back in the lineup.
So welcome return for Evan Gattis. There's his line from his stint in Gwinnett. Go 6 for 13 any place. You're having a good run at the plate. And we hope that continues tonight against Carlos Torres, the Mets starter. Here's how New York lines up. Their Toyota starting 9 ought to be a lot better rested for Game 2 than they were yesterday. Eric Young leads off in left. Daniel Murphy, the National League Player of the Week, hits second and plays second base. Josh Satin starts at third base with Lucas Duda at first. Travis d'Arnaud's the catcher. Juan Lagares in right field. Matt Den Decker starts in center. Omar Quintanilla is the shortstop hitting eighth, and Carlos Torres is ninth.
Chris Medlin is on the mound for his 27th start. 11-12, a 3.58 ERA. And the reason I wanted to show you these home road splits, obviously a way better ERA at home here at Turner Field, which is pretty consistent with most of the Braves pitchers, starting pitchers, but the difference in home runs. He's allowed 18 on the year. One was out of the bullpen to Adam LaRoche, but only 3 home runs allowed here at Turner Field. His 4 keys to pitching success tonight. Well, after that start against the Indians, there was a real strong resemblance to the Chris Medlin we watched and enjoyed watching the second half of last season when the Braves didn't lose any of his starts. And I thought in that start against Cleveland, he had the best changeup he's had all year. Let's hope that continues tonight.
Good man to keep off the bases is Eric Young. He's in left field tonight. And he's batting .253 with a couple of homers and 26 knocked in. And a first pitch single into center. So on an 83-degree night, Medlin's immediately in the stretch. And here's his defense. Gaddis, Upton, and Upton in the outfield. Johnson, Simmons, Uggla, and Freeman around the horn. Brian McCann is back behind the plate. Daniel Murphy, as I mentioned, won the National League Player of the Week award. In 7 games last week, he led the league with 5 doubles, tied for first in runs scored and hits. He had 13 hits in 7 games. Also drove in 7 runs.
People ask me all the time, Chip, on Twitter, Daniel Murphy and David Murphy of the Rangers, are they related to you? I always say the same thing. Depends how they're doing.
Yeah.
So, welcome to this week. This week, Daniel is part of the family. Had a good week.
Bouncing ball right side. There'll be only one play. And Murphy advances Young on a ground ball out to second. And Josh Satin is the hitter. Satin got the start at first base for the Mets yesterday. He's starting at third base today. And an interesting story in the New York papers this morning. In the offseason, he's going to hold his former teammate Marlon Byrd to a big promise. That big promise was Byrd wants to help teach Satin how to play the outfield. Satin thinking he's not going to get a lot of playing time at third base with David Wright in uniform for the Mets. As he grounds to second on the first pitch. Young to third with 2 out. If Ike Davis comes back, he's probably not going to see a ton of time at first, but he might have a chance to play a lot in this outfield, which is only now starting to blossom for the Mets in the second half.
Especially the way he's been swinging the bat. He's been hitting the ball right on the button, at least against the Atlanta Braves. The only drawback to him playing the outfield is he can't run a lick. And if he's got one spot, he'd probably be in left field. But with his bat, they'll make room for you if you can hit.
Yeah, no question about that, Joe. Like Joey Turdoslavich started out as a third baseman, but he can play some first and learned how to play some outfield. You're valuable. You can swing the bat and play a few positions.
Lucas Duda with 2 outs. And the change is a swinging strike.
Backed it up. 2 in a row, 1 at 82, 1 at 83.
Yeah, that's pretty good way to start. I've always liked that first pitch changeup. This situation, it's a lot of guts to throw it early in the game. Chris Medlin is not short on
3 in a row. Wisely threw that one off the plate.
You really mess up Duda. You throw 4 in a row here. Well, I'd love to see it. It's got to be the furthest thing from his mind right here. Doesn't look like it.
Breaking ball missed high, and the count even 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ike Davis injured an oblique earlier in the week. He's probably done for the rest of the regular season for the Mets. And if he isn't back, the New York club having really open audition for the first base job here over the final 4 weeks. Today it's Duda's turn. And a changeup gets him swinging and missing. And Medlin is out of a scoreless top of the first inning. B.J. Upton leads things off for Atlanta. Looking for their 85th win this year. Atlanta's magic number to clinch the division is now 11. After the Braves win and Washington's loss yesterday. A new look at the top of the order. B.J. Upton is in center field. Jordan Schaefer out with a bad back. Then it's B.J.'s brother Justin in right field. Freeman, McCann, Chris Johnson. Evan Gaddis in left field bats 6th. Then Dan Uggla, Andrelton Simmons 8th, and Chris Medlin bats 9th.
Carlos Torres makes only his 5th start. He's made a bunch of relief appearances for the Mets, but this is only his 5th start. He's actually 2-1 as a starter. His home road splits, I think, very revealing also. He likes Citi Field a lot, not so much on the road. 26 innings pitched, a 4.85 ERA. However, he did make a great start against Atlanta back on July 23rd in New York. 6 innings, 7 hits, only 1 run allowed. Walked 2, struck out 6. His 4 keys tonight: cut, cut, cut. Man, he throws a ton of cutters. His fastball is 90 to 94, but he'll throw a lot of cutters off that tonight. And Andrelton, he hasn't faced the Braves a lot, but one guy that gave him problems already is Andrelton Simmons, 2 for 4 with double and a homer.
So it's B.J. Upton leading off instead of Jordan Schaefer tonight. Upton's had 55 at bats this year, batting first. He has 11 hits in those 55 at bats as a leadoff man. Grounded towards second. A little bobble by Murphy, but he makes the play for the first out. That looked like it hit the side of the mound. It may have helped Murphy get to that ball to his right. 1 away.
Yeah, it might have. Right off the far right edge of the mound. Torres is working for kind of a modified stretch. His right foot is pretty much like you would set up to work out of the stretch, but then he does step back toward first and go into a windup. Might be from all of his work out of the bullpen.
Justin Upton with 24 homers and 64 knocked in.
I can't remember the last guy I saw step that way.
Yeah, it's odd.
It does kind of simplify things sometimes. I guess you're right, Joe. Maybe it's just from working out of the pen. I guess that's the best way to say it. Modified stretch. Different looking.
Well, he's working on working out of a good start his last time out against the Phillies. He pitched into the 7th inning, gave them only 1 run, no walks, 6 strikeouts. Not a kid. He's 30 years old. 6'1", 185, born in Santa Cruz, California.
That's popped foul and into the seats. And the count to Justin now, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Torres is filling the rotation slot of Matt Harvey. He's got the partial tear of the elbow ligament. And as we saw yesterday, the Mets have some serious pitching questions here for the final month of the season. Dice K had another ragged start for Terry Collins and the Mets yesterday. But with all the injuries they have suffered, with Hefner, with Mejia, with Harvey, with Johan Santana, all out of their rotation. Some auditioning in the starting 5 the rest of the way for New York as well. And that caught the outside corner. Might have been one of those cutters Joe was talking about. Upton took it for a called 3rd strike.
Freddie had himself a big day yesterday. 2-run double in the 1st and a 3-run homer in the 2nd. That's a good start to your day.
So he has become a Met killer, as you see on our Home Depot tools from the dugout. Just think, fellas, next year the Mets fans at Citi Field will endure another season where they won't be shouting Larry, but they'll be able to start chanting Freddie, because he's wearing out the Mets pitching staff.
Boy, he sure is. What was it? 30-some RBIs in the what was it?
10 homers, 34 RBIs, and a .333 average in the last 31 games against New York.
I think they know who he is now.
So Chipper named one of his kids Shea, right?
Yeah.
So Freddie. What are Freddie's choices up there? City. Do it again.
And Harris will play that one on a couple of bounces. Freeman has a 2-out single.
Just Metropolitan. That was a cutter. Got the barrel to it, though. The cutter, the idea of a cutter is you throw it hard and it doesn't break as much as a slider, but it's supposed to move off the barrel of the bat and maybe catch the brand where you just don't square it up. Freddie was too quick for that one.
And Brian McCann bats with a man aboard. And he takes a strike. I'm still amazed that yesterday, fellows, was the first McCann RBI against the Mets this year. 2 hits, a run scored. He also walked. And this one flared into shallow right center field. Den Decker with terrific speed makes the play. And the Braves are out of luck in the bottom of our 1st inning. The hits are even at 1. The score 0-0 heading to the 2nd. hope to be playing a lot of postseason baseball. The reason why, you'll see our Firestone Complete Auto Care Extra Mile.
Only 2 clubs with better winning percentages than where the Braves are at home at this moment at 50-19. If they go 6-6 their last 12 home games, they will tie their all-time best record here at home. So quite a season for the Braves this year here in the friendly confines of Turner Field.
That's pretty interesting company. I didn't play against that 1975 Reds team, but I did get my first call up in September of '76. It was the same lineup. People always ask me about that team, and I tell them it's the best team I've ever seen.
It's amazing.
So that's pretty good company for the Braves. Wow.
Travis d'Arnaud will lead off for New York. He's the young catching prospect that the Mets hope will blossom. And he rips one out of play, foul. The Mets were hoping that d'Arnaud would have gotten to the big leagues a lot sooner than he did, but he broke his foot in the minor leagues and missed a lot of time. But now that he's here, they were able to trade John Buck to the Pirates, and d'Arnaud and Recker is the Mets catching tandem now. 14th game for Travis, hitting $175.
Changeup.
Got a good one working, doesn't it, Joe?
It is solid.
How highly regarded was d'Arnaud? Well, the Phillies took him in the first round in '07. He was traded to Toronto for Roy Halladay, and then was traded to the Mets for R.A. Dickey, 2 Cy Young Award winners. And little tapper back to Medlin. He bounces off the mound and gets the catcher easily, 1 out.
Good presence of mind there by a former infielder, knowing that he was about to go down the back slope, but he wanted to take a look and see where his foot was going to land. Watch Chris as he catches this ball. Take a peek.
This is Juan Lagares. He's been terrific in center field, but he has a right fielder's arm, doesn't he, Joe?
Well, he's got an arm. He can play anywhere he wants. But yes, he does, Chip. And like I said yesterday, this Decker better show us something for them to move him out of center field, because Lagares was just selected by ESPN as their defensive player of the month. Wow. For what he's done in center field for the Mets. And then Decker gets called up and they move Lagares to right.
Oh, 2 pitch. Missed outside. A ball and 2 strikes. Ooh. Very close.
Good try, though. Good try, just off the plate. 2-seamer that just missed, and he had something on it, too. 91.
Popped into shallow left. Gaddis broke back. Now comes charging in and gets there. There's the second out. Really interested with what Chris Medlin said is responsible for his recent run of success. He's won 5 of his last 6 starts. He keeps using the term he's more aggressive. I don't know if that manifests itself in the speed with which he's pitching, but he's getting the ball, getting the sign, and going back to work quickly.
He's just not going to too many deep counts like he was before. And I think that goes to command. And if that's a direct reflection of aggressiveness, meaning that he's going into the zone a little more, then it's working.
Just to have a good rhythm going in the second inning. His off-speed stuff continues to sparkle. 1 ball, 1 strike to Matt Van Matt Dendecker.
I think that's a good observation, Chip. I think aggressiveness probably manifests itself both ways, in the zone and just getting on the mound and throwing. Not that you're not thinking. It's just that it's a more aggressive attitude. Sometimes you get passive and you start second guessing yourself out there and shaking off a lot of pitches, and go with your instinct and get it going.
Does that affect the defense behind you? I mean, I can't think of two guys who've pitched more differently in the series than Dice K for the Mets yesterday and Chris Medlin today. The frequency with which they're making their pitches.
Oh, it makes a huge difference. I mean, I played a little bit in the infield, first base, but in the outfield, there we go.
Two-seamer.
Over the inside corner, and Dendecker took it for a called third strike. 2 strikeouts for Medlin. No score in Atlanta.
Braves fans, Delta Flyaway is back. So grab your phone and text Delta to South. That's DELTA to 76884 for a chance to win round trip airfare for 2 anywhere Delta flies in the continental United States, plus hotel accommodations and $250 spending cash. We will announce the winner Monday, September 16th during the Braves telecast. Message and data rates may apply. Entrants may receive 1 text message confirming entry. Winner may be contacted by text message. It's not in my contract to read things that long.
You see, but that last part, you'll probably have to do this tomorrow too. Okay. That last part, we'd like for you to read it fast, like those disclaimers,
okay.
Like those guys at
I got
the end
you.
of the commercials.
Okay, I'll practice right now.
Okay.
Go. Entrants may receive text message confirming entry. Winner may be contacted by text message.
Perfect.
Okay. That sounds like a good deal, seriously. $250 cash plus anywhere they go?
Yeah. Even Salt Lake.
Salt Lake's a hub.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. Planes leave there day and night, all the time.
It ain't the leaving part, it's the getting here part.
Yeah. Two 2-0 to Chris Johnson.
Chris Johnson's swinging well, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Don't change the subject. Fly ball to right. Lagares camps out. He's got it. And that's out number 1.
Hey, I'll change the subject. Congratulations to the Utes and to your son Jake on his touchdown catch Saturday night. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. Good
Got
stuff.
home in time to watch a little of that.
Yeah, thank you. It's good stuff. Happy for Jake and University of Utah football. Thank you.
Were you nervous in the
yeah.
stands?
I'm always nervous.
It's a lot different than actually being on the field, huh? Where you knew you were in control of yourself or what was going on.
Gaddis rips one toward right center field. Lagares will try to cut it off, and he did. Nice play to hold Gaddis to a long single. That snaps an 0-for-17 run in the big leagues, but counting his work in Gwinnett, Evan Gaddis is red hot.
Got a high fastball, too.
Got a high fastball. Got on top of it, but Lagares, impressive outfield play there. A little glimpse of why he was Defensive Player of the Month. I heard you guys on the broadcast talk about his arm yesterday.
It's a good one.
Dan Ugla bats with a man of wood and 1 out. Every Brave who started the game yesterday had at least 1 hit. Braves had 17 of them and left 10 men on base. Nothing in 2. Dan's done good work against the Mets this year. 4 of his 21 homers and 9 of his 53 RBIs have been against New York. But not this time. He strikes out. 4 out number 2.
Good fastball there. Looked like a 4-seamer that time from Torres. Second strikeout, and went to that spot we talked about last night or yesterday afternoon, Dale, about how Dan continues to try to go out around pitches away from him to try to pull him, and it's hard to do.
So here's one of Joe's Ford keys tonight: Andrelton Simmons versus Carlos Torres. And letter high strike over the inside edge.
We talk so much, and when we watch replays, we invariably talk about guys' hands staying inside the ball, and that's what you're saying, Joe, is Dan's hands are not inside; they're going out, and like you say, it's a good way to describe it, coming around that fastball on the outside part.
Gaddis will try to move up, and he will. Good base running by Gaddis on a ball in the dirt. Darno made a strong throw, but it was late.
Was good aggressive base run. The ball wasn't that far away from Darno.
Nice bounce out there, though. He's quite a ways off the bag.
Really good aggressive base run. As soon as he saw the ball was in the dirt, took a chance.
Did they score that a stolen base?
Yeah. Ball was in the dirt. Simmons pops one into right field. Lagares will have plenty of room, and he will make the catch, and that retires the side. Evan Gaddis with a 1-out single. He's left stranded, and we head to a 3rd inning scoreless.
Braves as Jason Hayward was able to resume limited baseball activities. This is exciting times, folks. It's a SunTrust shining moment. Chance to go out and play catch before the game today. He also had an opportunity to hit off the tee inside the cages, and that came with a new helmet, by the way, that's got protection along that jawline. Now, he's eligible to come off the disabled list on Friday. He's obviously still a long ways to go in terms of returning to full activity. No running yet, nothing along those lines. But the best news for him, he got a chance to eat some Chick-fil-A. It was good enough to bring him to tears. Chip?
Oh, man. Thank you very much, Tom. By the way, I wanted to compliment Tom Hart tonight. I loved you on Captain Kangaroo.
Yes, we're a retro show will be coming out next August on Fox Sports 1, Captain Kangaroo 2.
And we've got our Mr. Green jeans.
Yes.
Good report, though, Tom. Thanks. Good sport. And good news for Jason. Anytime a player who goes through what Jason's going through can start eating solid food and slowly but surely get into baseball activities, that's excellent progress, I would think.
Great news.
You know what scares me the most is when he's in the dugout and there's like a scrum going on in there for a celebration, and I'm just scared to death somebody's going to bump him accidentally with an elbow or shoulder or head or something.
Lined and caught at short by Simmons. Quintanilla robbed of a leadoff hit.
Good timing by Anderson.
Here's Torres. He's 1 for 6 at the plate this year. And you're right, Joe. Fans in the state of Georgia have seen enough players hurt in celebrations for one autumn.
Yeah, I would say so. Yes, he did. Thank you, Wally.
Torres down swinging. Go ahead, Brian. Let her rip. And there's out number 2. Fans, only a few spots remain for the 2014 Braves Fantasy Camp. That's January 21st through the 26th at the Wide World of Sports in Orlando. Live the life of a Major League ball player with former Braves athletes Steve Avery, Javi Lopez, Brian Jordan, Sid Bream, Marquise Grissom, and Tom Glavine, too. Sign up today at Braves.com/fantasycamp.
Well played.
Murph, you did fantasy camp, didn't you?
I've been there. Been invited back this year.
Your name wasn't on the
It's not on the list because I haven't got my schedule. I'm not too well organized. You may not know that, but
haven't noticed.
So. Not quite. What month is that? February?
When was it? Close. Okay. Got 11 more guesses.
Anyway, I have been there.
It's a lot.
It is a blast.
Lot.
It's a blast.
Now, when you go, do you take batting practice and take a few fly balls?
Absolutely not.
No. No. Okay.
What I do is I get highlights from 1982 and throw them in throw them up there somewhere so the campers can see that, because if they saw me hit now, it'd be just so disappointing.
They'd believe that somebody
be like, no,
snuck in a video of somebody that wasn't you.
Yeah, it's not very pretty right now.
Well, if you go this year,
it is a lot of fun.
And you have a chance. If Bobby Wine is one of the camp counselors, make sure you get his team. He is a perennial fantasy camp champion.
Is he really? Why not? One of the greatest guys ever.
And it's fun because there are a lot of folks who go down there and really take it seriously. I mean, they're trying to strike out the major league hitters. As Johnson in foul ground has plenty of room. But most of all, it's really fun watching the guys have fun. And the veteran players in the locker room again in Orlando.
It is a blast. Greg McMichael and everyone involved, they do a great job.
by AT&T Uverse, by Delta Airlines, and by Ford. Joe Simpson, Dale Murphy, Chip Carey with you back at the ballpark. Tom Hart down by the Braves dugout providing our reports today. Nice crowd on a beautiful night. We have no scores. The Braves are up for their third look at Carlos Torres. Chris Medlin, B.J. Upton, and Justin Upton are scheduled. One of those hits for Medlin, a home run that came in Los Angeles against the Dodgers. And a strike. Said that was a special thrill. He grew up in Southern California, always dreamed of playing shortstop and hitting homers for the Dodgers. He pitched against them and homered in their home ballpark. And a little bouncer back to the mound. Torres handles without incident. And there's out number one. College football fans, don't miss a second of SEC Gridiron Live. Join James Bates, Tim Couch, Elizabeth Morrow, and Ovi Muhaley each week as they break down what is possibly the strongest conference in college football. That's SEC Gridiron Live, and it's on tomorrow night at 10 on Fox Sports South. Talked with Freddie Gonzalez about his lineup card today and asked him why not Andrelton Simmons leading off today. And as a major league manager, you don't have to just look at your play today, but you have to look a couple of days ahead as well from time to time. You construct your lineup. As Upton singles to right. Better hustle to first. Lagares not afraid to fire the baseball around. But the point being, the Braves, when they face the Phillies on the road, are going to see Cliff Lee and Cole Hamels, two left-handed bats. And he really likes the idea of having B.J. Upton at the top of the order rather than young Andrelton Simmons against those two veteran pitchers.
I keep saying that the Braves schedule in September, especially in the second half, when the Braves will have an end-of-the-season series with the Phillies. They're going to see Washington again. They're going to see the Marlins again. They're going to get a real good test from these good arms in the National League East. They've still got to see the Padres. They've still got to see the Brewers. You might see Giovanni Gallardo from Milwaukee when they come to town. That's going to be postseason-like, you know.
And I think that's a good thing.
I think that's a good thing, too.
And so you may not see Jordan Schaefer leading off against the Phillies. As Justin Upton smacks one into center, Dan Decker makes a beautiful sliding catch for the second out of the frame. But Freddie likes the idea of having Simmons hitting down in the lineup where he doesn't have to worry so much about the responsibilities of being a leadoff hitter. Let Upton do it. He's done it a lot in his career.
No, I don't have any second guesses on that today, especially the way BJ's been swinging the bat. Just took another one to right field. That's another good sign, and would be more surprised that he doesn't run right here, even with Freeman up. 2 outs.
Freeman singled his first time up. And let's think Upton's going to run. They toss to first.
Yeah, I think it is a good way to think. And I'll tell you that base hit by BJ right there. You guys have seen him play every day. I think that's the best swing I've seen him take all year. I mean, he's hit some home runs.
Yeah.
But you can hit a home run, not take a real good swing sometimes. But when you hit a line drive to right field, or as a left-hander, when you hit a line drive to left field, it has to be a perfect swing. You can't dip. You can't do anything wrong. And boy, it's good to see him heating up like this. That was a beautiful swing right there.
Joe did a great job, Murph, earlier in the homestand about breaking down timing for Upton. He's on time, it appears, more frequently than at any time this year for the Braves at the plate. And Freeman on an 0-2 pitch smacks one out toward Murphy at second, and the Braves are retired in the third. We go to the fourth. Murphy, Satin, and Duda up for New York, still scoreless. As we play the middle game of the series with the Mets. Good pitching so far for Chris Medlin and Carlos Torres. Chris has struck out 3 men in his first 3 innings and is the subject of our AT&T U-verse trivia question. Since the start of 2010, name the only right-handed pitcher with a lower ERA than Chris Medlin's 2.90.
It's a lot of innings pitched, too.
2010, 11, 12, and 2013. I assume that's both leagues.
I'm going to rule out Dice K.
Yeah. Safe bet. Could have broken out the Judge Smales line with Dice K yesterday. Well, we're waiting.
Yes. Oh, and boy, did we wait.
He threw 72 pitches in 3 innings for the Mets yesterday. Medlin and Torres have combined so far to throw 70. That from our stat man extraordinaire, Chan, off to our right. And Murphy, a slow roller at second. Medlin's getting the ball on the ground again today. Good sign, 1 out. Time for our Academy Sports and Outdoor leaderboard. Josh Satin at third base has been on base a lot for New York.
Among Major League rookies, only Yasiel Puig has a higher on-base percentage. The only thing about this Academy Sports and Outdoor leaderboard is that, with the exception of Iglesias, none of those guys have been here for a full year. A bunch of those guys have been called up late in the season even. So since they've been here, they've done a good job of getting on base. Give them that.
Ball, 1 strike.
Excuse me, Chip. Getting back to the pace of the game last night yesterday versus tonight. I thought in the back of my mind it might be good to get a clock going in between pitches, speed the pitchers up. Maybe the second base umpire can have it or something like that. And Joe, you mentioned that you played in a league with a pitch clock. What else do you call it?
It was the NBC tournament, amateur tournament, national tournament in Wichita. And it was all the games were played on one field. And I think it was called Lawrence Stadium, as I recall. And it was double elimination, so there's tons of games, I mean, almost around the clock going on in this one field, 50 teams or something. And they had a clock set up right on top of the left center field wall near the scoreboard, and it was a 20-second clock.
20 seconds.
And from the time the ball popped in the catcher's glove, the clock reset. Pitcher had 20 seconds to throw the next pitch, or a ball was added to the count.
22 seconds between pitches for Medlin. You guys know the modern player far better than I. Would that be something that the Players Union would even think about letting happen in our game?
I would hope so. I would think so, and I would hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be one of the biggest complaints I hear about the game.
But do you hear it from fans as much as you hear it from people in TV and print who have deadlines and are around it every day? You do?
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. The guys that are around it, that are doing the games, you probably notice it more. But we talk about the attendance at games, which is going well and things, but we gotta cultivate new fans. We got to interest more people. And we got to get these games 2.5 hours on average. I just am convinced of that. We got to do something. And I would think that they would consider that.
The other side of it is, I'm hard pressed to remember exactly how this worked against the hitters too. But if you're not in the box and the guy's trying to throw a pitch within 20 seconds, if you're not in the box,
it's a strike or something.
It's a strike. Yeah, whatever the call is.
A liner down the right field line by Lucas Duda. He'll stroll into second with a 2-out double.
Hey, Dale. Guess who hit a double tonight?
Am I supposed to finish that?
Not if you don't want to.
Duda.
Lucas got sent back to AAA for a time this year. Had a hard time in the first couple of months, but the rest of the season in AAA, and just was called back up recently, when actually a little before I think Ike Davis got hurt.
It's amazing. You take a quick look at Lucas Duda on that close-up shot. He separated at birth from Brian McCann.
Absolutely.
Very similar facial features.
And Joe, your experience with that 20-second pitch count was good. I mean, there was no adverse effects from it?
None. And keep in mind that this was a day and night tournament, round the clock tournament going on. So there was a need for everybody to stay on time, games to stay on time. You can't help extra innings. So I don't know how that would play in a ballpark where there's just one game going to be played tonight. There's no rush, no sense of urgency, I'll put it that way, on any given night.
Guys, there is a rule in the Major League Baseball rulebook, 8.04. When the bases are unoccupied, the pitcher shall deliver the ball to the batter within 12 seconds after he receives the ball. Each time the pitcher delays the game by violating this rule, the umpire shall call ball.
Every time the umpire called ball, you'd have somebody thrown out, so that's not a practical solution.
Well,
if you take it out of the umpire's hands, though, and have a clock behind home plate, clock in the center field fence somewhere.
I never knew that was a rule. That's the first time I've heard that.
Well,
thanks, Tom.
I would have to say the same thing. I think, why don't we enforce it? Yeah. I guess. I mean, that's wow. Thanks for that, Tom.
Swing and miss. It's probably not a practical rule. But the pace of this game, very crisp, as you see our Delta Airlines trio coming up in a scoreless game in the Braves' fourth. Ball on Sports South is being presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, the low price every day. So what do you guys think? I mean, let's continue this pitch clock thing after what we saw yesterday. I don't get a sense that the fans who pay their money and come to the ballpark complain that they're here an extra 30, 40 minutes. It's almost like they're getting something free. A day at the ballpark, fun experience, etc., etc. I do agree with the fast-paced nature of our society now that the lack of a clock is problematic when compared to basketball, football, and hockey. So what would a good number be between pitches? Is 20 too fast? Is 30 too slow?
12's too fast.
Which is probably why that rule is inapplicable or problematic, as a nice play by Quintanilla at short to take care of Brian McCann.
Well, I think we need to do something, and we need to enforce it. I think that, you know, it's interesting on Twitter. I'm getting all kinds of feedback. One is interesting. If I'm going to pay that much money, I want the game to go to a Major League Baseball game. I want the game to last longer than 2.5 hours.
That's my point.
It goes to your point, Chip. Although I also see here on Twitter the SEC has apparently implemented a pitch clock, and it's worked fine. I mean, we're not going to have the exact same time of every game, but we got to enforce something. All I'm saying is you're still going to have a good time at the ballpark, but overall, to generate new fans and to keep fans and to get young fans, I think a 3.5-hour game is not going to play well to a younger fan.
I agree with
That's
you.
all I'm saying. The older fans, we don't care. We come to the ballpark, it's baseball. We're still going to have a long enough game, I think.
I think, too, we got to remember it's show business. This is entertainment. It's not just a sport, it's entertainment. Fans like hearing the walk-up music. Fans like hearing and seeing all the stuff in between batters on the scoreboard. Television plays a huge role in the length of games. As Johnson drives one toward Lagares and right. Anytime the national networks take over and the playoffs come, justifiably so, they've spent hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars. They want to get a return on their investment, so they have longer breaks between innings. That has nothing to do with the action while the game is going on. That's in between innings.
That's true. Well,
I would disagree. I would disagree strongly that all the in-game entertainment, all the between innings races and walk-up music is almost like to lure you into a thought that there's something going on at the ballpark instead of baseball, whereas I don't worry, Evan.
Yeah, this is 2 for 2.
Whereas a crisper played game, you don't need it. And I'm not being critical of any ballpark, especially Turner Field, for what they do here. It's become part of the fabric of a game. But there's one umpire that I can think of that tries his hardest to get things to move along, to get guys to jog to their position. Everybody walks to their position between innings because they know about the breaks between innings for TV, and that's Joe West. Joe West is barking at guys all the time. Let's go. Hustle out. Let's go.
Swing and a miss. And I agree with you. What I'm saying, though, is TV has a big part in it, too. You add 35 minutes of commercial time for between inning commercial sponsorships. That's an extra half hour on the time of game. I agree, too. The game got along just fine for 100+ years without walk-up music and mascot races and all that other stuff. If you can do it fast.
Well, the commercials need more eyeballs on them, and you're going to get more eyeballs by having a faster game. You're not going to keep in every.
Yeah, good point. Nobody's going to run to the refrigerator if you know you might miss an at bat or two.
Well, you're going to have commercials, but the time of the game, we know the NBA is about 2 hours. You know the NFL is about 4 hours. You see it once a week, or a college football game. You kind of understand that. But a game every night that's going over 3 hours, I don't think you're going to get enough. You're going to get more eyeballs, I think, on your commercials if the time of the game is shortened a little bit, the average time.
Bouncing ball toward Quintanilla. Tricky play. He makes it. And that will retire the Braves in the 4th inning. We have played 4 innings in less than an hour. Continuing our pace of game discussion, looking for our first run tonight.
Braves have a hit in each of the first 4 innings, but can't put them together just yet. Chris Medlin's allowed only 2 and has left runners in scoring position each time he's given up a hit. Looking very sharp, good changeup, good fastball, good location.
A very confident starting pitcher right now. He's won 3 straight at home, has Medlin, and has won 5 of his last 6 overall. Exceptional luck too against the Mets, against whom he's 4-1 in his career. And an opposite field single by Lagares leads off the 5th inning for the Mets. Braves 2013 postseason tickets are on sale now. Don't miss your chance to see the Braves make their postseason run this October here at Turner Field. National League Division Series tickets are now available. Get them at Braves.com/postseason today.
Well, our discussion about pace of play certainly got Twitter going.
Well,
I've got everything from zip it, Murph. Nothing's wrong with the game to it ought to be 10 seconds between every pitch. I understand we don't want to mess with the great game that it is, and I think we're still not going to have a uniform time. Not every game is going to be 2.5 hours. It's just not the nature of the game. It's still going to be baseball. I think things should be discussed.
Well, yesterday's game, and not only was it colleagues, it was players, it was coaches that I talked to that all said it might have been the worst game they ever watched. And it was a horrible game from the standpoint of it being an 8.5 inning game that took 3 hours and 40 minutes. But it was it wasn't due to any injury or anything like that, or a rain delay. It was due to poor pitching. And that in a nutshell caused all of it. From both sides. So that doesn't happen very often. I mean,
you'll have one team have a bad day, but
yeah, but for both sides to have a hard time finding the plate, base runners all over the place, I just thought that was a real exception to the rule, but I think that's why everybody had the same reaction to it.
And In stark contrast, the fine pitching we're seeing from both starters tonight. As in the 5th inning already in a very crisp game, as Dan Decker is down swinging, where as good as Medlin's been, as good as Torres has been, the first run might be all that's needed tonight.
Well, another good one. I am just in favor of exploring all opportunities. If that to get a quicker game, a quicker paced game. I think it's one of the things that kids don't enjoy as young players learning how to play. I mean, let's face it, if you're an outfielder in Little League and things get a little long out there and you're looking at your friends playing basketball, football, soccer, lacrosse, there's more action. And I think if we ought to look at all things. Expanding the strike zone, I'm in favor of.
Line to second, flip back to first, double play. Lagares wandered too far off the bag. Quintanilla lines into an inning-ending double play, and the Braves come up still scoreless in their half of the 5th inning. By 5-Hour Energy, by Georgia Power, by Ram Trucks, and by AT&T. No score in Atlanta. Kids enjoying the Sky Field here at Turner Field. Braves and Mets meeting in Game 2 of our series. Quick turnaround. We're back at it at noon tomorrow. A Business Fan special. Hope you'll join us for Cameron Lowe and Dylan G. That is the dynamic pitching duo for Game 3 of the set. They are our Chevron probable starters.
Lowe G. That'll come around in a hurry, won't it? Cameron just called back up from Gwinnett. He will take the place of Julio Teheran, whose turn was scheduled tomorrow. Nothing wrong with Julio. Remember, they skipped Mike Minor in the rotation a couple of weeks ago, and they're doing the same thing for Julio just to give him a break. I think it's a great idea. Might be one coming for Medlin soon, too.
Anderson Simmons swings the first pitch, and Quintanilla gets him at first. 1 out.
You know, that is a great thing. That one of the advantages of having this big lead is giving Julio Teheran a rest. Mike Minor got a rest. I was thinking the other day, looking at Wainwright's starts. The last, is it 2 or 3?
Last 2.
He's gotten roughed up, and unfortunately they don't have the luxury, although if I were the Cardinals I would think about it. He looks a little tired, but what are you going to do? It's kind of a quandary. You're going to rest him and have him skip a start.
The start before these last 2 that weren't very good was the complete game effort against Atlanta when he went 122 pitches for the complete game win and shutout.
And the problem for the Cardinals is, unlike the Braves, they have a very tight divisional race to worry about. Not just for the Cardinals trying to catch the Pirates, but also trying to stay ahead of Cincinnati. As Medlin drives one to right, Lagares going back, and a step onto the warning track makes the play. 2 outs. And the importance of finishing first or second in the Central is real simple. If you're the wild card team and you're the second wild card, you have to go on the road in a 1-game shootout. And I don't think anybody wants to go to Cincinnati and play the Reds in their ballpark in a winner-take-all game to advance in the playoffs.
Right. And I did hear today, Chip, that the wild card game for the National League would be Tuesday.
Okay.
And then both National League divisional playoffs would begin Thursday.
So both National League on the same day.
Same day. And the American League wild card game would be Wednesday, and both of their division playoffs will start on Friday.
And as it stands now, the Braves would have the best record in the National League and would open at home on that first playoff Thursday.
In a 2-2-1 divisional playoff. 2 at home, 2 on the road, game 5 back at home.
There's a strike to BJ.
I know there's a day off between games 2 and 3. I don't know if there's a day off between games 4 and potential game 5.
So the Braves really have a chance to just set things up. And that is what a luxury.
Another shot to right. This one playable for Lagares in the corner, and BJ Upton, and the Braves are out in order. We head to the 6th. Torres, the pitcher, goes to work for the Mets. Still no score.
One with the prelim fights leading up to the main event on UFC Fight Night, as third-ranked light heavyweight Glover Teixeira takes on Big Bad Ryan Bader. Then it's the season premiere of The Ultimate Fighter, featuring rival coaches Ronda Rousey and Miesha Tate. When the coaches are fighting, you know something bad is going to happen. UFC Wednesday begins at 4 o'clock Eastern with UFC Fight Night pre-fight show tomorrow on Fox Sports 1.
Would this be a good time to talk about our pace of promo problem in baseball?
Yeah.
Great game tonight. 5 crisp innings, no score. The Mets and Braves have combined for 7 hits. With a nice crowd tonight, over 20,000 here in Atlanta. The Braves are going to go over 2.2 million in attendance. The Braves will have 11 home dates left in regular season play.
I was here last week, Chip, in how many years? Over 2 million?
23.
23.
Wow. In a row. This is Carlos Torres, the Mets pitcher. Medlin struck him out swinging in the 3rd inning. At one point, Chris retired 11 straight men. Was interrupted by a Duda hit with 2 outs in the 4th. Mets ran the bases poorly last inning. Quintanilla lined to second. Lagares wandered too far off first and was doubled up to end the inning. Washington in Philadelphia tonight. They've got Gio Gonzalez on the mound. The Phillies have cut a 3-0 lead to 3-2. That's in the 4th. And a comebacker for Medlin. And the play at first in time. And the magic number 11 for Atlanta.
Has either pitcher been to a 3-ball count tonight, Chan? Just one? One by Chris. And one to Justin Upton in the first inning by Torres. Chan also looked up that schedule on division play, and there will be a game off between games 4 and 5 for the National League.
This is Eric Young. He singled on the game's first pitch and is also popped out. As things stand now, the wild card teams in the National League are the Cardinals and the Reds. It's real unlikely that Arizona and Washington are going to catch them. The only question is, will it be St. Louis, Cincinnati, or Pittsburgh in any number of orders representing the wild card? That's to left. Gaddis still going back. Can't get it. It's off the fence. And Young on his way to second. Big turn. He's on his way to third. The throw is going to be late.
Evan knew he was running out of room here. He'd taken a little look at the wall. I thought at first it glanced off his glove, but he did not get leather on it. And a good throw by Andrelton made it close. Look who's making the call, too. Good rotation by the umpires. That's home plate umpire Marty Foster hustling to his position there to make that call at third.
The infield comes in for Murphy. This is a dangerous proposition. As hot as he's been. He's down a strike.
It's hard to hit a triple to straightaway left field, even under those circumstances. It took the good speed of Eric Young to make that happen.
At the knees, Murphy took that. It's 0-2.
So you don't have to throw him a strike here, Murph. What do you go with? Go with a curveball, maybe a backdoor curveball, or another change?
Yeah, I like something off the plate. I like the backdoor curveball.
Wasn't a curveball.
It was like that too.
It's a fastball that's hit to the right field corner. The Mets have scored the game's first run. A triple and a double back-to-back with one out in the 6th. 1-0 Mets.
Just didn't. Yeah. See Brian McCann's reaction too. That's just probably about 6 inches out over the plate more than he wanted.
Yeah. And up.
And up.
This is Josh Satin. He's 0 for 2. Did some research on hits allowed with 2 strikes.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that early in the season, especially a lot of mistakes early in the season when he was ahead in the count.
And the unfortunate part, it broke a scoreless tie.
I'm going to assume that means an 0-2 count.
Any count with 2 strikes, I believe. Is that correct, guys? Any count that has 2 strikes, not just 0-2 pitches. Swing and a miss. 2 balls and a strike.
Well, see, I go back to what I said the other day. I'd like to know how many of them were 0-2 or 1-2 where you had a chance to waste a pitch. You give up a hit on a 3-2 count. That's not a mistake. That's a guy trying to throw a strike that happened to give up a base hit. He didn't want to walk somebody.
I think the frustrating thing to Chris Medlin on this one, though, is you're pitching to Murphy with Satin, Duda, and Arnaud up next. After you don't really, it's a situation where you probably want to take your chances with those guys who haven't been around as long as Murphy. Base open.
And stats crew in the truck says of those hits for Medlin with 2 strikes, 37 of them on 0-2 or 1-2 counts.
So roughly half.
Two balls and a strike. First bit of trouble for either pitcher. After Torres bounced to the mound, Young tripled to left. Murphy doubled him home. Short hopped at second. And Ugla able to freeze Murphy. He was really in no man's land, wasn't he? Will he catch it or will he play it on the hop? Dan made the right choice. Murphy at second, 2 outs now.
Time for Georgia Power Energy tip number 2. BJ Upton, number 2. Georgia Power customers can get $50 and free removal of their second working refrigerator or freezer through the refrigerator recycling program. Visit georgiapower.com/refrigerator.
Lucas Duda doubled in the 4th. He's also struck out swinging. Mentioned yesterday, Chris Medlin watching his teammates pound out 13 runs and 17 hits. Hoped his offense would save him a couple today.
Right.
He's been among the worst supported starters in Major League Baseball this year. He'll have the 2, 3, 4 hitters coming up in the Braves half of the inning.
He has thrown Duda a week's worth of changeups. Struck him out in the first inning. 3 swings on changeups out of about 5 pitches. 2 changeups to start him here.
For a minute, I thought you were going to say he's thrown him a week's worth of Duda.
No, you said that.
1 ball, 2 strikes. At the letters over the inside corner. Medlin strikes out Duda. Lucas is victim number 7 on the punch out. And we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Justin Upton, Freddie Freeman, and Brian McCann are up. It's now a 1-0 Mets lead. Of the Atlanta Braves. A warm night, 83 degrees at Turner Field. Good pitching, Torres and Medlin. Braves trying to line up the tomahawk again and win another one on this homestand. So far, the Braves are 6-1 in our second long homestand after the All-Star break. Back to our trivia question. Since the start of 2010, name the only RHP right-handed pitcher with a lower ERA than Chris Medlin's 2.90 with a minimum of 400 innings.
Because of the innings pitched, I'm going to go with Justin Verlander. It's the best I could come up with.
Kane, Matt Kane.
Is that
his name? Matt Kane,
a good one.
With San Francisco.
I'm going to wait a pitch. That's outside. I'm going to say Steven Strasburg.
It's a good one, too. He's got enough innings. Remember, they cut him back. Jared Weaver. Wow. Strasburg was second, Chip.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Tied with Chris Medlin. Then Felix Hernandez, and then Justin Verlander.
They're all around him. Couldn't get Mr. Weaver.
Matt Kane was 10th.
To answer a question like that, Joe's like putting diesel in a regular gasoline tank.
Oh, yeah, you just kind of chug to a stop.
Yeah, agreed.
You know who's 6th on that list, though? Might surprise you. Johnny Cueto is 6th on that list.
Really?
Yeah, 2.95. No, 2.96. Just 1/100th behind Verlander.
Talking with some scouts about Justin Verlander before the game. Obviously, Max Scherzer's having a spectacular season for the Tigers with only one loss. I asked a scout who follows the American League a lot about Verlander, and they said, you know, he's got the great fastball and he can still hump it up when he has to, but it just doesn't have that extra oomph that it's had over the last couple years. As Upton is down on strikes, Darno will throw him out at first. That's the other thing that makes the Braves run so incredible. When you factor in all the postseason innings that the big three and others pitched, and to come back year after year after year and still be effective without as much rest and recuperative time, really remarkable. And you wonder about Verlander, if he'll be able to take it up a notch or two when the bell rings in October for the Tigers. I'm not betting against him, but if you're facing him, you sure hope he doesn't. A strike to Freeman.
Freddie got a hit off of him in the first inning on a cutter, but then Torres won the battle in the third inning. Ran one right in on his thumbs for a, might have broken his bat. Ground ball to second. One of the things I've noticed the last couple of innings, Dale, is that the right-handers appear to be trying to go to right field because of that cutter, that he might be trying to run away from them. Saw both Uptons and Chris Johnson go the other way.
Yeah, he's locating it wherever he wants to. He hadn't made a mistake. Of course, Chris Medlin's really only made one. That hurt him.
1 ball, 2 strikes for Freddie. And he chased a helmet high pitch and is struck out. Back-to-back strikeouts for Torres, who in limited duty, counting tonight's work, has not given up a run in Atlanta in 11 career innings.
Well, they showed that home road split for him this year. It's not very good, but check it out. Only 14 pitches out of the zone out of 61.
Well, he's pitching with some confidence. His last start was really good.
I think what's throwing me off, Dale, is what we talked about at the very beginning of the game, and that is you're not used to seeing pitchers' action go toward first to third and then kick and deliver. You're used to a step back, a kick, and all your momentum going backwards to go forwards, I guess would be the right way to describe it. His is very lateral.
Yeah, really different.
Oh. Nothing in 2.
Tell you this, if he hits a ground ball through the right side, is that Murphy or was that Satin that went over there? I think that's Murphy that's out there in shallow right field. It's going to test the limits of his arm from there to try and throw him out.
Up the middle. Nice pick. Long throw, and they get Brian McCann. 3 up, 3 down. We head to the 7th. 1-0 Mets.
Great pitching by both Torres and Medlin. Difference in the ball game. Eric Young has 2 of the 5 hits for the Mets. And he goes the other way on this fastball and hits it out of the reach of Evan Gattis, who's back in the lineup tonight. And by the time Evan recovered, close play at third, but Eric Young made it in there with a triple. And then on an 0-2 count, a mistake on the inside part of the plate and up to Murphy, and he plated the run. That's the only run of the ball game. Both pitchers have been very good.
Well, you got to credit Eric Young. There's some balls when you hit him, you know, I got a shot here. This could be a possible triple. That ball there is one of those balls that's probably thinking to himself, well, it might be trouble, but I'm really going to have to bust it. And he got out of the box, ran hard, and turned that ball into a triple. Like you mentioned when it happened, Joe, it's not often you see balls to straightaway left field or right field that are triples. You got to credit him with not only having the speed, but using it, not dogging it out of the box.
So Travis d'Arnaud leads things off for the Mets. And as always, all season long, Braves baseball on Sports South is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. There it is. Right stuff, the low price every day. Popped up. First pitch. Justin Upton in right. Gathers it in. One man down. This game's going way too fast. Chris pitching beautifully. Here's Lagares. belt tie strike. In seasons like this, when you have a 62-74 campaign working like the Mets, you look for any silver linings you can find. I would imagine that Darno, Lagares, Murphy, Wheeler, and Harvey would be very bright spots for New York. And it's rumored that Terry Collins will be back as the Mets manager. That's not official. That's speculation in the papers. How one could not bring him back after what they've done since Super Tuesday in Atlanta would defy logic, I think.
Well, drastic improvement in their pitching. The difference in that record that wasn't so good through June 17th. And that pitching kind of falls on the shoulders of Harvey. A good off-speed pitch there. Harvey and Zach Wheeler, who have been great additions to the rotation. And I'll be happy for Terry if they have the good sense to re-up him. He's done a good job with their club. There's players like him, I know that.
Matt Den Decker has struck out twice.
Gotta like his Twitter handle. At Upper Decker.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah. And he hit one in the upper deck the other day. I guess his first home run. Went into the second deck at Citi Field.
2 balls, no strikes. And a rare 3-0 count from Chris. Pittsburgh's in Milwaukee tonight. Brewers lead 2-1. That's Giovanni Gallardo and Garrett Cole for Pittsburgh. The Buccos start play today, a game ahead of the Cardinals, and this is a monumental possibility. If they win today, it would be their 81st. They haven't had 81 wins or more since 1992.
Wow.
Tell you how much confidence Chris has in his changeup right now. You see what he threw. Den Decker was behind 3-0, got to 3-2, and then on the 3-2 count threw him the changeup, and it was fouled off. And another coming.
And this one's hitting the right field. So Den Decker with a 2-out single. Big turnaround first. He likes to show off his wheels, doesn't he? And Mets have their 6th hit of the night.
I think he was sitting on it that time.
Yeah, it looked. I was trying to. I didn't see how fast miles per hour it was, but I was wondering because he looked like he just was right on it. I agree with you. Pretty gutsy guessing pitches 3-2 as a young player, but with Chris Medlin tonight, as good as he's thrown that changeup, I agree with you, Joe. It looked like he was all over that one.
Quintanilla's lined out twice, once into a double play. That was last time up. Strike one. Medlin with that quick pickoff move can really help neutralize a running game. You know New York would like to add on to this 1-0 lead. Decker's running, swing and a ground ball, foul at first. And Quintanilla behind 0-2 now.
Two typically not a good pitch to run on because of the ability of the opposing team to pitch out.
He's running. Check swing roller. Awkward play at third. Long throw. And the play beaten. Now Johnson late recovering to the third base bag. And Decker moves up an extra 90 feet.
Boy, was that an emergency swing. Chris Medlin caught being a bit of a spectator there. Could have come over to help cover. You see Simmons going to the bag at second to cover on the steal attempt. So nobody at third. And it was another 0-2 hit.
Now the Mets at the least clear the pitcher. Carlos Torres has struck out and bounced to the mound. Fast runner at third. Let's see if Torres can make contact. Good start for Medlin. A swinging strike. Chris ready for pitch number 95 of the night. Breaking ball struck out Torres. 9 strikeouts for Medlin through 7 innings. He's down a run. Chris Johnson leads off the home half of the frame.
Action as they take on the San Diego Padres in a 3-game set Friday, September 13th through the 15th. Check out the Georgia Lottery Friday night fireworks show and Kids Run the Bases Sunday. Visit Braves.com tickets or call 800-745-3000 today.
It's been a long time since we've seen the San Diego Padres. It was in mid-June, to be exact. And they made news today. They signed Will Venable to a 2-year contract extension. He's hit the Braves awfully hard.
Yeah, good move on their part. Carlos Torres continues to pitch well against the Atlanta Braves. 7 games total, an 0.47 ERA. Not walking anybody. I mean, he's only walked 7 batters all year long in 61 innings now. And none tonight. Only 1 3-ball count. Braves got to try and put something together, try to manufacture a couple of runs.
Only 67 pitches so far for Torres tonight.
What an effort.
And to think, you figured it's a break when you don't get Matt Harvey. He's having similar results.
He threw 95 pitches in his 6 2/3 against the Phillies in his win last time out.
He's hitting .333. 3 points ahead of Michael Kadire of Colorado. Yadier Molina has slipped to 3rd in the National League batting race. Don't know if Molina's in the lineup for the Cardinals. He's been out the last couple of games with a sore wrist. Carlos Beltran hurting for the Cardinals too.
And Laser Baker told me that Molina, it's not like he can sit on that. He doesn't have enough at bats to qualify the 502 plate appearances, I should say. And for a player who's vying for a batting title, for example, on the last day, if you don't have enough plate appearances to qualify, they can tack those on and then see where your average falls if they were to tack that on, and then drop him to around 275 if that were to happen.
Wow.
So he's going to have to play to win it.
Well, he is playing tonight, Chan tells us, and he's 0 for 2 against the Reds.
They need him, certainly.
You bet. Cardinals and Reds, no score after 6 in Cincinnati. No score for the Braves so far tonight. They're down 1-0 in the home half of the 7th.
That was a 4-seamer. Tried to burn the outside corner or get Chris to offer. Neither happened. His second full count, second 3-ball count.
And Chris swings and misses. That's 8 straight Braves set down by Torres. He has his 5th strikeout. He hasn't been able to solve Evan Gattis tonight, though.
Jumped on a high fastball his first time up for a base hit in the 2nd. And turned on that pitch for a single in the 4th. After the first pitch each time. Bit of a late call there by Marty Foster. That motion, Murph, is also very deceiving when he does decide to throw a curveball. He hasn't thrown many. He just threw one to Chris Johnson for the strikeout. But sometimes he kind of gets that rocking motion going a little faster and then breaks it down with a curveball. And if he's ahead in the count. It's very deceptive.
Yeah, it's not something that really you should notice that much. You always want to look at his release point, but you can't help but notice it. It's so unusual to see him step toward first base instead of the traditional stepping back towards second.
Fly ball, well hit, left center field. That ball's deep. That ball is gone.
I'd say that trip to Gwinnett was very worthwhile. One-two pitch. Wow. Looked like a little spinner. I don't know if it was supposed to be a cutter or not, Dale, but it didn't do much. Except fly out of the ballpark. What bat speed.
It's impressive.
His first home run since July 24th when he took Jeremy Hefner out in New York.
I'm surprised my recollection is that, see, first hit was a fastball, second hit was a fastball. That was something hard. It might have been a cutter.
Just foul off the bat of Ugla.
I'm just surprised he's getting that many fastballs to hit. I mean, if there's one thing I know about Evan Gattis, my scouting report would say throw fastballs, but don't give him too many to hit because playing with fire. Try to get him out. You got to try, and to me, you got to try and get him out with something slow.
That was a cutter that didn't cut.
Yeah, I think so.
Guys, he told me something very telling today. Remember, he laid off a high fastball before that home run. He said, I'm pretending like every pitch is going to be my pitch until it's not. And Dale, by the way, of those extra base hits in Gwinnett, 2 of them came off changeups and 1 on a curveball.
That's good to know, too. Thanks, Tom.
So,
well, he's hitting everything.
Gattis with that homer ties Jed Jerko of San Diego with most home runs among rookie batters in the league. His 48th RBI, now first, 1 ahead of Nolan Arenado of Colorado. And Evan Gattis now 3 for 3. Chan, what's his batting average now? 247. So that moves him into a tie for 9th place in rookie batting average, despite playing 80 games. And we've
3 positions.
Well, we've talked this whole homestand about a lack of recognition or acknowledgement of some of the great accomplishments for the Braves. Don't hear much about Evan Gattis in the Rookie of the Year, what with Puig Mania in L.A.
I think there was, Chip, early in the year, you know, when he was going so good, and they really all but handed it to him in the first couple of months. But I think when his numbers started going down, as well as his playing time, and Puig showed up, and Jose Fernandez started pitching well, you didn't hear as much about Evan Gattis.
Puig, by the way, has got a sore knee and may be unavailable for a couple of games for L.A.
That was a good at bat by Dan Ugla, by the way. Again, this guy just doesn't walk anybody.
Getting back to the Dodgers, there should be some Hanley Ramirez mania out there. The way that guy's,
right.
Jeez. Been on fire. Getting back to Tom's interview, though, with Evan Gattis, I love that approach. You know, I'm up there, every pitch is mine until it's not. That's a good aggressive approach. That's how you hit. I'm hitting, and you see it's a ball and your mind can't react the other way. It just doesn't work. I'm going to wait and see if this is a good pitch, and then I'm going to swing if it's good. You've got to anticipate a good pitch and then lay off it when it's bad.
Andrelton Simmons was one of Joe's Ford keys to the game tonight because he's hit our Georgia Lottery jackpot.
Good numbers, good on base percentage.
That ball's hammered left center field and deep. That one's got a chance. That one's gone.
Number 13 for Andrelton, something down, and boy did he jump on that. Wow, what a good swing. Really nice extension.
Yeah, you can't really call it a mistake. I mean, it was low, maybe caught too much at the plate. Andrelton Simmons hit a good pitch, and Freddie is jumping for joy, waiting to give Andrelton a big hug.
Gaddis and Simmons go deep in the 7th and turn this game into the Braves' favor. It's a 3-1 score. Jordan Schaefer will be announced as a pinch hitter for Chris Medlin. And Atlanta will turn the game over to their bullpen, seeking 6 more outs. Jordan was everywhere in the game yesterday. He had 4 hits. He stole 4 bases. He scored 2 runs and he knocked in a run. Play foul, strike 1.
Here's something back to your Rookie of the Year stuff, Chip. Something very interesting. Evan Gaddis and Yasiel Puig have now played exactly the same number of games before tonight, 80 games. 14 homers, 32 RBIs for Puig. 15 homers, 47 RBIs for Gaddis prior to tonight. Puig with a terrific batting average, 351, and Evan, as you said, is up to 247. But isn't it interesting? They both have played in 80 games prior to tonight.
No balls, 2 strikes for Jordan Schaefer.
No.
We've seen this movie already.
Hopefully it hits somewhere else. He's got the shin guard on. And at the back knee.
That is something you don't see very often right there.
Oh, boy. Who did that happen to the other day that just crumpled? Oh, it was Logan Morrison.
Yep.
He just went to the ground.
Chris Medlin, a happy lad, trailing 1-0. The Braves with 3 in the 7th. He now leads by a pair. Gaddis and Simmons have homered.
Gretchen tells me, Chip, that 9 of Evans' 16 homers have either tied the game or given the Braves the lead.
Schaefer to short. Quintanilla. And Jordan is retired for out number 2.
He was a little gimpy going down the line. One would expect him to stay in the game and play defense the rest of the way for Gaddis, but I don't know if his knee's all right. Right there you could see him kind of let up.
Assistant athletic trainer Jim Lovell will consult with Schaefer in the tunnel. As B.J. Upton Rifles a shot to center field. 2 hits out of the leadoff spot for B.J. Upton. He loves September, fellas.
It's 2 of the best swings I've seen out of him. I mean, tonight, that base hit to right and that ball right there. Boy, he loves that ball low.
To see how fast he's getting that foot down, and it's not his whole foot, it's just his toe, but then he's getting the heel down too as he's getting ready to start his swing. And it's just his timing is so much better.
And for the first time all year, B.J. Upton is hitting 200 or better. A 2-for-4 game tonight.
It's good stuff.
Brother Justin will try to chase him home and add to a 3-1 lead.
Keep it going.
Strike 2. The Reds have broken through in the 7th. They lead 1-0 over St. Louis. Pittsburgh's tied Milwaukee 2-2 in the 3rd. Washington clobbering the Phillies. That's now 7-2 in the 6th. The Dodgers are in Colorado and leading the Rockies 3-0. Upton swings, and that will retire the side. A 31-pitch inning for Carlos Torres in the 7th inning. The Braves touch him for a couple of runs. The big blow, Gaddis's game tire. Then Andrelton Simmons followed with a 2-run shot. That took the pressure off, and Chris Medlin and the Braves enjoy a 2-run lead. A 3-1 lead, and the happiest man about that is tonight's Braves starter.
Yeah, he was all smiles just a minute ago, wasn't he, when the dugout after that good offense got him back on top. But he's pitched a great ball game. Has not walked anybody, did not walk anybody, 9 strikeouts and only 95 pitches. And as you said before the ball game, Dale, when we were talking about the good work of Chris Medlin lately, pitched deep in the ball game again.
I liked everything I saw at him tonight. Really, just one mistake. Was it an 0-2 pitch to Murphy?
Yeah.
Just left the ball out over the plate. Really good effort again from Chris Medlin.
It looks like he's ready for a twin bill.
Good one.
Changes for Atlanta's defense. Justin Upton moves from right to left. Jordan Schaefer is going to stay in the game. And And answering the AT&T call to the bullpen is veteran left-hander Scott Downs. Top of the order for the Mets, Eric Young.
th game with the Braves. 2.38 ERA. 16 Ks in 11 innings too. Gave up a couple of runs though his last time out, and that was yesterday. A third of an inning, 4 hits, 2 runs to the Mets. And one reason he gave up 2 earned runs was that play was changed. That was hit to Andrelton Simmons deep in the hole. It was changed to a hit from an error.
He's gone 3-0 to Eric Young with a 2-run lead. And a 4-pitch walk puts a fast runner aboard. Now a lefty-lefty sequence. Downs versus Danny Murphy. Murphy doubled home Young in the 6th for New York.
I have not heard any word on Jordan Walden and his progress. Have you?
I've not. Bouncing ball foul. A sore groin has been the problem for Jordan. Perhaps Tom has an update.
Yeah, guys, they had to cut short his bullpen session yesterday after only 5 pitches. They're still not sure exactly when he'll get back, but Freddie Gonzalez did say today that the expansion of the rosters helped them from having to put Walden on the disabled list, adding that if this were an injury that occurred weeks or even a month ago, he certainly would have been a DL candidate. So they're taking their time trying to work him back in, but it's still a question mark as to when he can throw again.
Tomorrow will be 2 weeks since he pitched.
A strike to Murphy. And a little pop out toward second. And an easy play for the first out. The new college football show is back from the SEC to the Pac-12. Watch James Bates and Coach Tommy Bowden every Thursday for in-depth coverage of the week's best matchups. You can catch the new college football show every Thursday at 7 on Fox Sports South. Leadoff walk to Young. Murphy pops out. Now the right-hander Josh Satin is due next. And Freddie Gonzalez will go to his bullpen, trying to protect a 3-1 late lead. by Toyota. 3-1 game. Mets have a runner at first with one out. Luis Ayala grabs a baseball. He'll come in and pitch for Scott Downs. Last 3 appearances for Ayala have been scoreless ones.
He had a real good inning yesterday. 1-2-3 inning with the bottom part of the order. His ERA down to 2.35.
So if Jordan Walden can't go for a while, I would assume the Braves could call somebody up from AAA Gwinnett. Their season ended yesterday. Mississippi and Lynchburg, the other are the 2 Braves minor league teams who are continuing on postseason play.
So Mississippi did win.
They won 6-5 in 11 innings.
Great.
On an error. They open their playoffs September 5th at Mobile. And Lynchburg starts their postseason September 4th at Potomac. That's the Nationals High A affiliate.
Lynchburg's had a good run with all the teams that have come through there from the Braves over the duration of their affiliation with Atlanta. Don't forget that's where Andrelton Simmons played just 2 years ago.
Doesn't seem possible, right?
No.
Is that right?
Yeah. Won the batting title.
Seems like he's been here forever.
A strike to Josh Satin. He does not run very quickly. Get a ground ball, you got a great chance to double him and the Mets up. Nothing doing on the pitch out. 1 ball, 1 strike. That's tapped foul, a ball and 2 strikes. Satin has struck out this year 43 times now and 148 at bats. Luis got him behind in the count 1-2 here.
I'm surprised he struck out that much. He looks like a better hitter than that. And at least a better contact hitter than that from what we've seen.
Young's running. Pitch inside. The throw to second will be late. It skips off of Ugla's glove. Simmons backed it up. And Eric Young steals his 35th base. 27 of them have come in a Met uniform.
Not much of a chance for Brian because he had kind of a walking lead. Not in the sense that he was like a second base walking lead, but his feet were still moving. Ayala didn't make him come set.
So leadoff walk, a pop out, and a stolen base. And a 2-2 count for the Mets' number 3 hitter, Josh Satin. It's low. Full count. Little different look for the Mets, to say the least, without David Wright hitting third. Wright still out with a bad hamstring. He's hopeful of returning to the Mets lineup before season's end. Ground ball to second. Uggla's got that. Young to third, but it costs the Mets out number 2. So do you want Duda or Darno?
Or do you want to bring in another lefty? Pitch to Duda. Braves have no one throwing in the pen at the moment. I don't want to put the tying run on, so this is your matchup.
Duda has doubled. He has struck out twice. This is an area for the Mets, for the Braves pitching staff, that has been really remarkable the last month. Coming into tonight's play, Braves opponents have hit just 192 with runners in scoring position over the last 35 games. Roger McDowell's bullpen has been shut down all year. Pitching Duda very carefully, 3-0. So that answers the question who the Braves wanted. Roger McDowell out for a chat, maybe a scouting report for Ayala, who faces Darno tonight.
Darno's only hitting 175 coming into play today. 7 for 40. In his last 10 games, he had hit just a little under 250, so he was beginning to find a few more holes. Got his first big league hit against Atlanta in New York.
So the table set for the Mets catcher, 2 on, 2 out. A 2-run deficit in the top of the 8th.
Mets got to be looking at this like, okay, this is our shot. We know what's coming in the 9th inning. If the Braves still have the lead.
A lot of corner, strike 1.
Boy, that sure goes to the psychological value of Craig Kimbrell. Thinking to yourself, this is our, this is it for us, guys. That's exactly what, when you talk about closers that shorten the game, that's what Craig Kimbrell does.
I think that's
shortens
what
it to an 8-inning game.
Braves bullpen, when you got Avilan and Walden healthy.
Goes it shorted to a 6 or 7 game. Yeah. It's a tough thing as an opposing player to think in those terms.
No chance he was going to make an 0-2 mistake.
This is the 524th big league game for Ayala. Every single one of those appearances has been in relief. He'll try to work around a leadoff walk to Eric Young, and his own walk to Duda a moment ago. Well, here's where you want action. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Get the inside corner and has a long look in at Marty Foster.
No had even a chance.
Popped up. Long run Freeman over near the tarp. He won't have a play.
Kind of got away with a slider a little bit in.
Well, and he slowed his motion down. I thought he telegraphed that a little bit too, Murph. I thought he kind of sent a signal to Darno that a breaking ball was coming by slowing his arm action down.
Well, you made a mistake with one. What do you do? Come back with the same thing? And
yeah, I would. Would not give in to him. They are breaking ball.
And Darno fought it off.
He took a little off that one.
Yeah, now you got the challenge. He's just seen 2 sliders in a row. If you throw another one, you're going to have to take a little bit more off.
I think you're tempted with him kind of leaning over the plate on those sliders to want to bust him inside. Let's see what they think. No, another one. Another breaking ball.
Popped up. Deep second. Ugla backpedaling is there. And the side is retired. The Mets had their shot. Got 2 walks. Couldn't cash them in. Braves coming up looking to extend a 3-1 lead in the 8th. And win for the 51st time this year on their home field. We'll hope to talk about that with you on Braves Live, presented by AT&T. Braves manager Freddie Gonzalez will stand by with his post-game press conference. We'll get sound from the clubhouse, and we'll enjoy tonight's highlights. Many of them will include Chris Medlin's brilliant start tonight. 9 strikeouts, no walks over 7 innings of 1-run ball. The Braves pen has shut him down to this point. And a 3-run Atlanta 7th. Homers by Gaddis and a 2-run shot by Andrelton Simmons turned around a 1-0 Mets game.
This is Scott Rice, who has been in more ball games than anybody in baseball. This is number 73 for him. Got the 3rd best inherited runners percentage at over 80%. Great ERA since the All-Star break. High 80s, low 90s fastball, and a slider. He's also got a split that he works in occasionally too.
So the first runs Carlos Torres allows at Turner Field cost him the lead. And now Rice will try to hold the Braves right where they are and hope for some kind of luck against Craig Kimbrell. Freddie Freeman 1 for 3 tonight.
When you think about how many games this guy's been in, leading the majors with 73 appearances, and then you go to Mike Marshall, who won the Cy Young Award for the Dodgers. What was it, 120 appearances?
Some ridiculous, over 100.
Incredible, wasn't it?
Yep. He was a reliever that won the Cy Young Award. As I believe the 74 season. I'm not sure about that. I think that was right. It was in the 70s. Yep. 1974. 1 ball, 2 strikes, the count to Freeman. And a bouncer to first. And there's the first out in the Braves' 8th. Brian McCann's 0 for 3. Phillies coming back. They're down 7-5 now to Washington. If this score holds and the Phillies come back and win, the Braves' magic number would go to 9. McClellan said that was a strike.
I think Brian knew it too. Yep.
The Mets have a shift on with 1 out and a 1-2 count.
Hit the ball hard his last time up, but right at Josh Satin, who's playing to the first base side of second, even though he's the third baseman.
He's ready, and he'll have the bottom part of the order for the Mets. Lagares, Den Decker, and Quintanilla are scheduled to hit. Into the shift. Murphy played the rover position perfectly, and he gets his man 2 out.
That's really frustrating. He hit that one right on the nose too.
So Rice did his job. He retired the left-handed bats. Terry Collins will make a couple of changes. He'll go to his bullpen and bring on a righty to face Chris Johnson. 2 up, 2 down in the Atlanta 8th. The Braves score. Changes for the Mets. Justin Turner has checked into the game. He'll play third base. And a guy who can really throw hard is on to pitch. Vic Black in his 5th big league game this year.
Number 4 was last night. He just worked a third of an inning. Came in the 6th and got Andrelton Simmons to fly out to end the inning.
Black came from the Pirates on August 27th, along with minor league infielder Dilson Herrera in the deal that sent Marlon Byrd, John Buck, and Cash to Pittsburgh.
Fastball in the mid to high 90s with a very hard curveball that's pretty much his out pitch to both lefties and righties.
217 strikeouts in 178 1/3 minor league seasons, or minor league innings, covering 5 years for Vic Black, who may have designs on someday being the New York Mets closer. His job is to face Chris Johnson, who has a rare 0 for tonight. He's 0 for 3 with a strikeout.
Yikes. 6.
That was your first reaction.
Well, it always used to be, you know, a guy could throw 96 letter high, but these kids nowadays, like Craig Kimbrell, are throwing in the mid to high 90s knee high or lower. I mean, that's, there's 97 knee high. That's impressive. I never remember guys throwing that hard, that low as the kids nowadays.
Baseball America tabbed him as the 16th best prospect in the Pirates organization at the start of the year.
There's that curve.
And he just struck out Chris Johnson on 3 pitches. 8th inning is in the books. It's Craig Kimbrell time. He'll come on to protect a 3-1 lead for Chris Medlin and the Braves. Game summary.
Carlos Torres and Chris Medlin were hooked up in a scoreless battle for 5 innings. The Mets pushed across a run in the 6th. Atlanta finally got to Torres in the 7th. Evan Gattis and Andrelton Simmons with the big shots. Here they are on a 1-2 count. Evan Gattis plastered one into left center field. And then after a walk, Andrelton Simmons went down and got a low one. And there's Zaxby's indescribably good plays with the 2 home runs. They're the difference in the game right now.
So all signs point to Craig Kimbrell who's chasing his 44th save. He's converted 33 in a row and has allowed 1 run in his last 43 1/3 innings. He's got Lagares, Den Decker, and Quintanilla scheduled. Yanis has entered the game to play third base.
Five games against the Mets for Kimbrel. 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 run allowed. It was on a homer to David Wright right here early in the season. It cost him a blown save. 1 walk, each strikeouts.
Three pitches, and Lagares will have a seat.
Well, you throw 97 knee high, and then you throw 98 just a little bit higher, and then you throw this. It's okay, kid.
Yeah, really.
Really, you can't hit it. It's just fun to watch him.
Unless you're hitting.
And you do a lot of watching then, even if you're hitting. I mean, it's just kid's on top of his game.
And Decker takes a called strike.
And then it's so tough when he starts you out with that.
Completely confuses
Yeah,
you.
really. Or if he throws it back to back, then you really got a problem. Because this could be 90, you know, letter high 97, 98. There's just not a swing that can catch up to it.
Well, it always comes back to the age-old saying in baseball. You can throw hard, but you still have to pitch. And while Craig can't air it out, he's not throwing. He is pitching. Flinch as that one just missed the corner. Last fastball of the inning.
Yeah, Chip, he's just in control. I mean, there's just no other way to say it. I mean, just not in control of his pitching, just in control of the game. He is comes out and messes with your mind. How you lay off that? That's a good pitch to lay off. That's a tough one.
Den Decker has rallied to a full count. Overpowered him at 98.
That guy in your picture in the opening of the Mets dugout, I believe that was Vic Black. And you just saw a reaction there, a description of that fastball that Craig Kimbrel has and not too many other people do. But Vic Black wants a good eyeball on this.
Yeah, he's being told that the ball seems to rise. It was against physics, but that's what it looks like it's doing.
He's talking to Andrew Brown, the outfielder.
Omar Quintanilla has an infield hit. He's lined out twice. He's the final hope for New York.
Like what you said, Chip, Den Decker rallied to 3-2. Sometimes that feels like you did a really good job getting the count to 3-2. The problem is that last pitch is not a just get me over fastball when I'm at 3-2.
Bouncing ball up the middle, and Quintanilla singles on a 99-mile-an-hour fastball.
You know, I didn't even have time to really get it out because of how quick Quintanilla got the hit. But he had one of the best at-bats of the year against Craig Kimbrell up in New York. And it was like a 9 or 10 pitch at bat where he kept fouling off his best stuff. And I want to say drew a walk, but I can't be sure.
Well, you got to do your best to be short and quick. I mean, it's easier said than done. You just against Craig Kimbrell, you can't have any wasted motion because the ball will be on top of you.
Here's Turner. Bouncing ball to Giannis. Paul's got it, and the Braves have beaten the Mets. Kimbrell saves his 34th in a row. The magic number in the East is down to 10. Medlin's record even at 12-12. And the Braves get long balls from Evan Gattis and Andrelton Simmons to beat Carlos Torres in Game 2 of the series. We'll recap it for you when we come back to Atlanta right after this.